If you guys are anything like me, you guys probably cringe whenever somebody gives you the advice that you should read more books. Me, like the majority of Americans, haven't read a single book in the last year. Though we definitely can't say it's bad advice. There's been a ton of research done, and yes, there is a positive correlation between reading more books and being successful. But in my opinion, that doesn't paint the entire picture. I believe the reason why there's a positive correlation between the two is because those people want to educate themselves more. It can't just be because they're reading, it has to be because they're trying to educate themselves. And I believe that is the reason why it's still the advice that many successful people give to younger generations. It's because they're not telling you to just solely read books, but to educate yourself more. Not only should you educate yourself with the technical stuff, but you should also educate yourself with what's currently happening in the news as well as what's happened in the past. Because there's a lot that we can learn from history. You can learn technical skills like how to cook or start a business. Or if you were keeping up with the current news the last couple months, you could have made a lot of money through Bitcoin, Dogecoin, or GameStop. Regardless, more successful people do tend to read books, but that's because they just have a thirst for knowledge, and that's just one of the methods they use to acquire that knowledge. On the other hand, I'm surprised they don't advocate more efficient learning methods since they're so big on their return on time. Because let's face it, you can definitely learn something in a 5 to 10 minute video that would otherwise take you several hours to read. However, I'll give them a pass because I believe the reason the majority of millionaires are still advocating to read books is because they grew up in a different time. In this age of instant connection, you literally have access to everything there is out there in the world, all in the palm of your hand, via your smartphone. That little piece of tech allows you to literally learn anything you want via the World Wide Web. Old money millionaires probably aren't used to this new age of technology since the internet is something fairly new, relatively speaking. They had to acquire their knowledge through books and mentorship. There's a lot of great books out there that's worth a read, and for certain things you have to read in order to acquire the information, mostly because they haven't made it into a video format for easier consumption. The fact that you can invest 20 to 30 minutes to learn something that would otherwise take you several weeks to read in a book format is amazing. I'm sure you remember back in school when your teacher would say reading, you use all 5 senses in order to create this vivid image in your head. However, that's totally bullshit. When you're reading, your brain is just processing the words that are on the page so that you can comprehend what is going on. You aren't really using those senses, well, maybe besides sight a little bit. Like if you're reading a pictureless book, you're not really using sight all that much. All the words tend to be the same font, the same spacing. The sight from page to page is often the same. Your brain can better develop an image of something when it's a concept that's not based in real life. Like when you're reading a fantasy novel or an adventurous story, things that are fictitious. Ironically, when you're reading nonfiction, when the subject is more concrete, your brain actually just pulls information from its mental database. Comprehension of those words help you develop those 5 senses. You can see a mental image of what's going on. You can hear the atmosphere in the moment. You can smell a certain scent that's correlated to something. Sometimes you can have a taste of what's going on if they describe it well enough. And of course, sometimes you feel like you can touch what the character is describing because the author did such a good job painting a vivid image. This is due to your brain processing those words to make sense of it all. But again, it's not physically utilizing those senses. Watching something, on the other hand, actually utilizes 2 physical senses, seeing and hearing. This is why TV commercials are so much more effective than radio, which only applies to our auditory senses, or a still picture ad, which only allows us to appreciate a single frame in our vision. And just as with reading a book, just because watching something only uses 2 physical senses doesn't mean we're not utilizing the other 3. Like when watching those food channels and you see those delicious food just being made, I'm sure you can practically taste them. Because I know I drooled at some of those shows before. In those laundry commercials where they show like a big open meadow, you can practically just smell the freshness. And for the guys out there, I know you guys feel it when you see another dude get hit in the nuts. Like, you can feel it. I think it's called sympathy pains. Regardless, I know I've experienced it. Like I said previously, it's not about how you acquire the information. If you can acquire the knowledge in a much more efficient way, then why not? I used the same philosophy back in my school days when other students were busy just jotting down notes. I literally just paid attention to what the teacher was doing on the board and I focused in on that. If I could understand what the teacher was teaching in that hour, then I wouldn't have to study at home for several hours. I noticed a lot of other kids would just be busy jotting down every little piece of information that he was putting on the board, but weren't really paying attention, not comprehending what he was saying. And of course, when they got home, they would spend hours doing their homework and studying just to be prepared for their tests. Me, on the other hand, I rarely did homework and I never studied. Not trying to brag or even say it's a good thing, it's just how I did things. Of course, very importantly is what you choose to watch. If you choose to watch stuff that doesn't bring you any value, it's not going to benefit you at all. So you need to lighten up on binging anime on Crunchyroll or another one of your Netflix series, and enlighten yourself by watching things that are going to teach you how to retire early or perhaps learn that skill that you've been wanting to learn. And don't try to justify to me that just because you're watching a documentary is you gathering knowledge, because it's not. Like, who cares if you watch a nature documentary about animal mating habits? It's not going to help you at all. Even if you watch YouTube videos on how to invest your ways into retirement, it's meaningless if you don't make moves to start investing. That's a great title for a video. I gotta make a note on that. If you watch something educational but never apply it, it's just entertainment. And just as educational videos doesn't always equate to meaningful learning, not all forms of entertainment is bad. Sometimes just watching your favorite thing to pass time will trigger something in your head to take action. Maybe watching Grey's Anatomy is going to spark an interest for you to go into the medical field. Or perhaps watching that food channel is going to make you want to try a new recipe. Maybe watching your favorite gamer stream will teach you how to play a game better. I know, just because this channel generally talks about monetary things, that doesn't always have to be the goal. The whole purpose of this video was to show you that education can come in many different forms. What you choose to learn and how you apply it is solely up to you. At the end of the day, there is nothing wrong with enjoying yourself. Chilling with music, laughing at a sitcom, or just being in awe over an amazing movie. However, all things in moderation, including moderation. A quote by Oscar Wilde. You can't always stress about making money and being successful because they'll kill you on the inside. But you can't just sit around all day with no goals to work towards because they'll kill you on the outside. So if you're looking for ways to do better than you're currently doing, then consider lighting up on your leisure. But if you're stressing out because you've been working too much, consider the alternative and relax a little bit. Get in some R&R because you deserve it. I mean, after all, this channel is Work Hard to Be Lazy. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't promote being lazy at the end of the day. And with that being said, I appreciate you all watching. My name is Lance. Okay, cool, bye.